As is the case most years, 2022 has been packed full of major new releases, with pretty much every single month bringing with it a whole slew of new AAA titles for the masses to dive into. Of course, that in turn means that quite often some of the smaller and less mainstream titles end up falling through the cracks, many of which deserve way more of your attention. Here, we're going to talk about a few such relatively smaller single-player games of 2022 that may have flown under your radar, but are definitely worth going back to check out. Return to Monkey Island. Not even in our wildest dreams would we have imagined that 2022 would bring a revival of the Monkey Island franchise, but it damn well did, and what a revival it was! Return to Monkey Island is a fantastic game that perfectly captures everything that made its predecessor so memorable, while also managing to steer clear of the too much nostalgia trap. By its very nature, it's also something of a niche title, but for fans of adventure games, or just good writing and humor, it's unmissable. OlliOlli World. Roll7's OlliOlli games have always had a small but dedicated fanbase, all of whom were very excited about the series' significant expansion with OlliOlli World. They were all, of course, proven right, because OlliOlli World is a hell of a game. The fast and fluid movement is an absolute dream, making for an excellent 2.5D platformer that feels very unique, while the game also looks gorgeous and is overflowing with charm and personality. If you haven't played it yet, you're missing out. Shadow Warrior 3. If you enjoy fast-paced and uber-violent first-person shooters, you'll find plenty of things to love about Shadow Warrior 3. Frantic and chaotic combat against well-designed enemies is a core component of the game's DNA, while the slick traversal mechanics also make the action that much more dynamic and adrenaline-fueled. It's not a game without issues, poor storytelling, a short runtime, and linear level design being chief among them. But there's plenty of enjoyment to be found here nonetheless. Madison. The horror genre's resurgence has been heartening to see in recent years, with a multitude of big and small developers alike putting out excellent new titles in the genre with increasing regularity. Naturally, some of these have flown under the radar. For many, Bluedius Games' Madison is surely one such game. It's genuinely scary and constantly has you on the edge of your seat, and blends its puzzle mechanics and incredible atmosphere to great effect, while also telling a captivating story. It's a brief adventure, but one that's likely to stay with you long after you're done with it. Weird West. Made by folks who worked on the likes of Dishonored and Prey, Weird West has captured the attention of many in the lead up to its release. And though it hasn't quite broken into the mainstream since its launch, it's a game that fans of immersive sims absolutely shouldn't miss. Combining emergent mechanics, a dense and system world, and RPG elements, Weird West offers a bounty of choice to its players nearly every step of the way, and puts player agency on a pedestal that very few other games do. Of course, it's also got an excellent setting, which makes simply existing in its world that much more enjoyable. SOULSTICE. SOULSTICE is definitely a little rough around the edges, and from its dated level design to its occasionally wonky camera, there are plenty of issues in this game that could easily be ironed out to make for a much better overall experience. That said, even in its current state, warts and all, SOULSTICE is a compelling action game. Its old-school hack-and-slash gameplay takes a unique central premise and does some very interesting things with it. That's easily the game's biggest strength and makes it well worth a try, especially if you have a hankering for hack-and-slash titles of the early 2000s. Submerged: Hidden Depths. If you're looking to briefly step away from the main intense and story-heavy games that are out there right now and are instead looking for something with a much more relaxed vibe, Submerged: Hidden Depths is well worth looking into. It looks gorgeous, and it tells an interesting story, thanks primarily to its endearing characters, while on that gameplay front, its lean and focused nature and its simplistic mechanics make for an oddly compelling and breezy exploration-adventure experience. It doesn't break any new grounds by any stretch of the imagination, but it's very good at what it does nonetheless. Hard West 2. Like its predecessor, Hard West 2 has slipped through the cracks for a great many people out there. But also like its predecessor, if not more so, it definitely deserves more of your attention. Its supernatural Wild West setting is almost enough of a reason for that in and of itself, much like the aforementioned Weird West, But of course, the core gameplay is nothing to scoff at either. For fans of turn-based tactic games, Hard West 2 is an easy game to recommend, not only because of its addictive mechanics and combat, but also because it carves out its own unique identity in that space quite effectively. Serial cleaners. Once you get into serial cleaners, it can be hard to pull yourself away. A lot of that is, of course, down to the fact that it's a very well-made stealth game in a market that has been starved for them for so many long years. But it's also a very unique stealth game thanks to its premise, because your primary objective is, of course, to dispose of evidence and bodies before they can fall into the authorities' hands. That, combined with its surprising level of interactivity, makes Serial Cleaners quite a fascinating game, even when it's annoying you with its rough edges, which, to be fair, it has plenty of. Endling, Extinction is Forever. Do you want to be depressed out of your mind for a very well-made game? You do? Well, you're in luck, because Endling, Extinction is Forever is precisely the game for you. It's a brief experience, but boy does it leave a lasting impact. Set in a dying world that's on its last legs, you play as a mother fox who has to take care of her cubs by routinely going out to hunt for food, while also avoiding the many dangers of the apocalyptic world, including deadly humans who don't often take kindly to your presence. With its wordless and heart-wrenching storytelling, oppressive atmosphere, and light survival mechanics, Endling concocts a heavy, somber experience that you're unlikely to forget anytime soon. REDOUT 2. F-Zero and Wipeout fans assemble. Many indie developers over the years have tried to recapture the magic of the two beloved anti-gravity racing franchises, but very few of them have done it as well as REDOUT 2 does. Its singular emphasis on racing through sci-fi environments might turn off many in the casual crowd, but that also happens to be the game's biggest strength. It captures a sense of speed like very few other games out there do. It looks absolutely stunning, and it's a surprisingly meaty package that can easily keep you hooked for many hours. Midnight Fight Express. If you're a fan of brawlers and beat-em-ups, you've had your pick of excellent games in recent years, and though Midnight Fight Express doesn't ever touch the heights of something like, say, Sifu, it's still a game that's well worth a look at for the genre fans. Made by a solo developer, Midnight Fight Express boasts highly detailed animations and crunching, satisfying combat. Fights have a quick pace to them and never fail to make you feel like a badass, when you're doing well at least. And that's always the hallmark of a good beat-em-up. Metal Hellsinger. Fast-paced and uber-violent first-person shooting, but with rhythm-based combat. It's a very specific and very unique idea, and one that Metal Hellsinger brings to life excellently. Tearing through hordes of demons would have been satisfying enough in and of itself, but when you mix it with the game's head-banging heavy metal soundtrack and the immaculate execution of its very unique mechanics, you get something on an entirely different level. If you like shooters, you should definitely check this game out. Thymesia. We get a lot of Souls-likes every single year, many of which are developed by smaller teams looking to recapture the magic of the Souls games with their own unique take on the genre. In that very crowded market, Thymesia definitely stands taller than most of its peers. It's very Bloodborne in its atmosphere and its gothic aesthetic, and its fast-paced action takes plenty of cues from Sekiro, while it also injects its own unique ideas into the mix, like the central mechanic of plague weapons. There's no shortage of people out there who just can't get enough of Souls-likes. If you're one of them, Thymesia should be high on your list of games to look into. The Entropy Center. It doesn't look like Valve has any interest in making a new mainline Portal game, but thankfully we do have some alternatives to fall back on. Stubby Games' debut title, The Entropy Center, has emerged as one of the best games in that group. It looks excellent and tells a captivating story, thanks in large part to its endearing central characters. More than that though, it uses its clever time manipulation mechanics to deliver a consistent stream of fascinating mind-bending puzzles, from beginning to end. If you can get past some of its technical blemishes, you'll find a real hidden gem in here. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.